The Chinese know our leaders very well. In fact, they have a name for our self-hating professional class. They call them Baizou. The rough translation from the Mandarin is white liberal, and it is definitely not a compliment. Here's how Chinese state media describe Baizou. Quote, they're people who only care about topics such as immigration, minorities, LGBT, and the environment, who have no sense of real problems in the real world, who only advocate for peace and equality to satisfy their own feelings of moral superiority, and who are so obsessed with political correctness that they tolerate backward Islamic values for the sake of multiculturalism. As Chinese state media notes, quote, former U.S. President Obama was considered an advocate of Baizou ideology. So was German Chancellor Angela Merkel in her decision to welcome more than 1 million third world immigrants to Europe, end quote. Other observations about Baizou, as reported by Chinese state media, include the fact that they, quote, advocate inclusiveness and anti-discrimination, but cannot tolerate different opinions. Baizou's political opinions are, quote, so shallow that they tend to maintain social equality by embracing ideologies that run against the basic concept of equality. Amazing. According to one scholar from Peking University, Baizou are phony and hypocritical and will make the situation in the West go from bad to worse, and so on. Talk about insightful. They know our leaders well. According to Wikipedia, many Chinese internet users use the term Baizou, and we're quoting, to criticize the Democratic Party's emphasis on affirmative action policies, which are perceived as discriminating against Asians, end quote. So whatever you think of the Chinese, they're definitely not stupid, and they're onto something here. Affirmative action hurts Asians. That is true, and everyone knows it. A study of Harvard's admissions policies, for example, found that if the school admitted students solely on merit, as we thought they did, the percentage of Asian students in a given class would double to 43%. Now, Harvard doesn't want that many Asians. So it denies admissions to Asians because they're Asian. That is the definition of discrimination. That's what racism is. But it's everywhere. It's going on in all elite schools right now, as well as in almost every major corporation. The current administration wholeheartedly supports it. The Biden DOJ dropped a lawsuit against Yale University for racist anti-Asian admissions practices, which were proved, by the way. It wasn't an allegation. They got a hold of Yale's admission standards, which showed unequivocally Asians were denied entry because they were Asian. But the Biden DOJ didn't want to pursue it because they supported it. The attacks on standardized testing, by the way, have the same effect. We have standardized tests for a reason. They were created so that people who have no social connections, ambitious and talented immigrants, for example, could succeed in this country too. People like that have no one to write recommendation letters for them. They don't have rich uncles who sit on the board of this or that school, but they're smart and they work hard. And we wanted a place for them in our hierarchy because this was the land of opportunity, remember? So we created standardized tests so that they could make it too. People from nowhere could succeed on their own talents. That was the idea, but not anymore. Standardized tests are disappearing thanks to lobbying from Baizou, from woke Democrats. The meritocracy is racist, they claim, so is succeeding through hard work. Who do these poisonous ideas hurt most? Well, in Boston, as in so many places around the country, public schools have suspended an advanced work program due to, quote, concerns about equity. The real concern is the skin color of the students in the advanced program. Liberals were mad that the classes were too Asian. You're seeing this everywhere. Thomas Jefferson High School in Virginia, for example. Many elite high schools in New York. They're all changing admissions because there are too many Asians in the classes. We all see this happening. No one in this country mentions it. You know who else notices it? The Chinese. Why wouldn't they? On the one hand, they're offended by it because the Baizou's so-called equity programs always wind up hurting people who look like them. On the other hand, the Chinese government is pleased as they watch this because no country that penalizes people for intelligence and hard work can last very long. The Chinese have been around long enough to know that's true.